All right, well, the province is broke. No big surprise there. The public sector is bloated. No surprise there. And Deb Matthews now says cuts are in order. Imagine that. You know, I don't know if you remember. I certainly do. And Tim Hudak said he'd cut 100,000 jobs in the public sector. It was a defining moment in his campaign. It was also the comment that haunted him and made him lose the election. Well, now Ontario Treasury Board President Deb Matthews says the provincial government will be overhauling services. She says the cuts won't be harsh, but then she said, on the other hand, they can't rule out layoffs. John Downs joining me now, and do we have the clip of what she said yesterday? Oh, we do not.
Dusting out the closet, wasn't it?
I think it was something along the lines, but she said she's going to look carefully at each and every program. But this is a government that bloated the public sector, doubling it to 300 some odd thousand jobs. There's a lot to be cut.
Well, I mean, you know, it really comes down to context and what you believe the adequate level of services is.
Right.
So are there going to need to be cuts? Well, by her own admission, apparently there is a large deficit we've been hearing. I don't know if you've heard that, but I don't even know why she goes down that road, because I think people have the opportunity to say, oh, really? Why would that be? But no, she's going to look. Is it going to be 100,000 jobs? Look, Tim Hudak got in trouble, I think, because of his language. He wanted to make it sound like he was going to go in there and slash and burn the place.
But it was messaging. He forgot to say the words attrition. He should have just said,
but he said it too late. So look, what is Deb Matthews going to be able to do here? She'll go in and they will look at attrition. They are going to look at jobs. That's contracts that are just going to be expiring. And yeah, there will be a lot of jobs that don't get filled. The problem here is we do end up with, if you go too far, I would say you end up with Mike Harris type scenario where, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, I voted for the man.
I would vote for him again.
Well, but look, we got to a point where, I don't know if you experienced waiting in a hospital emergency room for 4 hours or 5 hours.
We're waiting now.
There's a difference. The programs are being handled elsewhere. So people who go to, you got to admit this happens a lot, people who go to the ER, they're not there for really the right reason. They should be going, and they should actively be being sent to their own doctor or to a health clinic.
Right.
That's not happening, so those people do wait. And, well, I'm sorry, but they could take more action to dispatch those people to somewhere else. But there are services available. I had to wait for several hours just to go to a health clinic during the Mike Harris days. It was bad, and there was a toxic relationship with teachers. Now, what's interesting here,
there's still a toxic relationship every time they don't get what they want. And now there's a really toxic relationship, speaking of doctors, with the doctors who are being told that they've got to take cuts of $500 million across the board, which is going to be a hit to teachers because that's their office budget. So wait times are going to be even longer. So, you know, after the election, she was quick to say, here's $500 million for the teachers, but we're going to ask the doctors to take a huge cut. I mean, give me a break.
Well, and this is the thing. We'll see how she deals with it. The timing works out for her right now. You don't have an election looming. But if you break a promise, which this party sometimes can tend to do, it's going to stick with you. Well, it's going to stick with you, obviously.
OPSU's already promising that there's going to be, look, the OPSU and Smokey Thomas, who warned during the election on this show, said they're going to privatize. They are going to start privatizing jobs, which is a hit to union members. You're going to start seeing some job action, which is what apparently that's a Mike Harris thing.
And if they go down that route, look, I never heard anyone saying, did they? I'm not sure if they actually came right out and said, oh, we would never consider that. But I don't think we're going to see.
Well, she said during the election, we will not cut jobs. She did categorically, because the narrative at that time was Tim Hudak is going to cut jobs. We will not cut jobs to our important, crucial public sector, even though there are a lot of jobs to get rid of them.
That is completely open to interpretation. By saying, look, we've got employees, we have people who work for the civil service who are important. That doesn't necessarily mean everyone. So someone who does lose their job, sorry, you fell between the cracks and your job just wasn't as valuable. If they get to the point where they're contracting out, yeah, you're going to see some serious job action. It depends, again, how many jobs they're looking to do that with. And I don't think anyone's going to turn around and say it's completely ridiculous and out of the question that you do that with some positions.
No, there won't be people. There will be a lot of people who say, good, it's about time, except for the base that put this government in is who's going to be speaking the loudest. And they are the ones who call the shots.
Well, it depends on how many jobs we're talking about. The more jobs that are on the block to be lost, to be privatized, I think the louder the hell you'll hear from these people. Look, it's loud either way. We know that. And very often the union isn't actually representative in terms of the voice of the rank and file.
No, you're absolutely sure. But a lot of people who didn't vote for this government are still saying, well, this wasn't my vote, because the unions are the voice of this province now. That's how much power they have.
You know, they do. There's no question they do have power, but I don't think there's as much solidarity forever as there has been in the past. Teachers, that's one thing, but I know several teachers, and I hear behind the scenes as to what they really think of their union, and they really think of the government themselves. But look, if you have teachers in this province, most of them, just demographically, are not going to vote progressive conservative, and it doesn't have to do with Tim Hudak or whether Tim Hudak would be good to the teachers. That's just not their politics. That's just not what they believe personally. So
I think a lot of them do what the unions tell them to do. Look, the bottom line is we have a new reality coming into the province of Ontario, and it's not a pretty one. We've got this carbon pricing that's being sold as helping Mother Earth. It is nothing more than a tax grab. So anything that the unions have made gains in, they're going to take a huge hit when carbon pricing comes in, because not only does their gas go up, but every purchase that you make in the store is going to go up, whether it be the car you buy, the lettuce you buy, the milk, the formula, everything's going to get more expensive. Mm-hmm. So you may have gotten a nice little perk. The elementary schools may have gotten a little bump in salary. Well, you're lucky, because it's all going to be wiped out by these new taxes, that and the provincial tax that's coming in.
We'll see. And I think there's a strong argument that the price for electricity has been highly, and we've seen it highly, highly subsidized by a government that sometimes has it coming out of its ears, yet still has to pay other people to take it off the grid. So we will see whether or not that happens, and whether or not they are going to blame a particular government. But again, you got to look at these people.
You can't blame anybody else but the government in charge. You can only blame Mike Harris for so long. But 13 years later, you got to start looking at yourself and saying, we created this crap. We got to somehow fix it.
Well, how powerful the unions now compared to what they were, I don't think they're quite as strong. And keep in mind, Mike Harris, whether you like him or not, galvanized people on the left.
No, yeah, he galvanized the unions because he wasn't giving them. He didn't lie. He said, I'm coming in, I'm making cuts, and I'm going to be common sense.
And that's why I voted for him, because he said common sense. But then I experienced the drawbacks of cutting the service.
Well, what would you take now? Would you take a Mike Harris common sense approach, who got downloaded with services from the Martin Critchett?
Well, but then he went and downloaded them onto the municipalities.
Some of them, or would you take a completely corrupt and scandalized government that mismanages everything they touch, is involved in investigation after investigation, and has squandered billions? I'm sorry. To me, it's an easy touch. I'll take a Mike Harris approach over this crap, because you know who's going to pay for it? My child. There's not going to be anything left in the next 20 years.
Again, it depends. No, I agree. I mean, there has to be. I wouldn't say we don't have to pull the line out like Greece did originally before they changed their mind. No, we're not. We're definitely not.
Well, no, sorry, correct. But we are starting to look like them about a year ago. No, we are. We're getting to that point where another downgrade, and we're going to be in big, big trouble. We're already in big trouble.
We're the biggest province. Too big to fail, Alex.
Oh, please. God, I hate it when you say that.